Have you ever been in a moment where you had to choose to stop and help or to keep walking? Maybe it was someone on the side of the road, a friend in crisis, or even a stranger online crying out for help. In those moments, something inside us wrestles. We wonder, should I do something? Or is this someone else's job? 2,000 years ago, someone asked Jesus a question that cuts to the heart of this struggle. Who is my neighbor? And Jesus didn't just give an answer. He told a story so powerful, so challenging, that it still shakes hearts today. Join us as we explore the story of the Good Samaritan, a story full of danger, compassion, and a surprising hero who teaches us what it really means to love. This is not just an old parable. This is a message that could change how you see the people around you and how you live your life. Let's step back in time, over 2,000 years ago, to first century Israel. The road from Jerusalem to Jericho was infamous. Locals called it the Way of Blood, a narrow, twisting 17-mile descent through desert cliffs and caves. It wasn't just a gentle slope. It dropped over 3,000 feet in elevation, twisting and turning through narrow passes, cliffs and caves, and in its shadows, thieves lay in wait. Everyone knew traveling alone was asking for trouble. Thieves and bandits made their hideouts in the rocks, waiting for travelers who were foolish enough to go alone. One day, a Jewish man set out on this road. Perhaps he had been to Jerusalem to worship, perhaps to trade. He adjusted his robe, held tight to his small pouch of money, and pressed on under the blazing sun. He glances over his shoulder now and then. Everyone knew this was a dangerous path. But the road ahead seems quiet. Every sound made him glance nervously at the rocks. And then, without warning, the silence shattered. From the shadows, figures leap out, a gang of robbers. Before he can even cry out, they knock him to the ground. Dust fills the air as fists strike him again and again. He feels the sharp pain of blows against his ribs, the hot taste of blood in his mouth. They rip off his outer robe, valuable in a time when clothing was costly, and take everything he owns. His money pouch, gone. His sandals, maybe even his head covering, gone. The beating continues until he is barely conscious, his body bruised and bleeding, his breath shallow. When the robbers are done, they toss him aside like a broken object, leaving him sprawled in the dirt under the blazing midday sun. The road is silent again, except for the faint groans of the man who can barely move. His lips crack with thirst, his vision blurs, and every passing moment feels like it might be his last. Hours pass as the wounded man drifts in and out of consciousness. The blazing sun has left his mouth dry, his skin burned, and his strength nearly gone. His body lies twisted in the dust, too weak to even sit up. Every sound makes his heart race. The snap of a twig, the distant clatter of hooves. Because on this road, the difference between life and death might come down to whether the next traveler is a friend or another thief. Time passed. His breath grew shallow, his lips cracked with thirst. But then, hope. Footsteps echoed. A priest was coming, a holy man, one who served in God's temple. Surely this was salvation. But when the priest saw him, he crossed the road and hurried away. Perhaps he feared defilement, perhaps an ambush. Whatever the reason, he chooses safety, convenience, and rich. Time crawls by. The wounded man's hope fades, but then another sound, another traveler. This time it's a Levite, another man connected to the temple, someone who helps lead worship. The man's heart leaps again. Surely this one will not ignore me. The Levite comes closer, bends slightly to get a better look, then steps back, crosses the road, and keeps going. Perhaps he says a quick prayer as he passes, but he does not stop. The sound of his footsteps grows faint, leaving behind only silence and despair. Two men who knew God's law, who spoke of love and holiness, chose distance over compassion. At this point, the man may have thought this was the end. 2 chances for help had come and gone. He is too weak to move, too weak to cry out. The light is fading. Night will soon come, and with it the cold and the danger of wild animals. His life is slipping away, and then the twist. A Samaritan appeared. To the Jews, Samaritans were enemies. They despised each other, avoided each other, would not even share a meal. If the priest and the Levite had walked away, surely an enemy would do worse. But then, something unexpected happens. The Samaritan stops. He sees the man lying there, sees his broken, bleeding body, and something deep within him moves. Compassion floods his heart. This is not just pity. This is mercy, costly, risky mercy. He rushes to the man's side, kneels in the dust and begins to work. He pulls out a flask of wine, using it to clean the man's wounds, even though wine was expensive. He pours oil to soothe the pain, and tears strips of cloth, perhaps from his own garments, to make bandages. Then, with great effort, he lifts the man onto his own donkey. This means the Samaritan will have to walk the rest of the dangerous road on foot, guiding the donkey slowly so the injured man doesn't fall. As darkness begins to fall, he reaches an inn. Inns in those days were simple, rough places, not comfortable but safe enough. The Samaritan spends the night caring for the man, checking on him, making sure he eats and drinks water. In the morning, the Samaritan takes out 2 denarii, 2 full days' wages, and gives them to the innkeeper. "Take care of him," he says, "and if you spend more than this, I will repay you when I return." He doesn't just offer quick help and leave. He promises ongoing care, even at his own expense. This is what mercy looks like. Love that crosses boundaries, love that costs something, love that chooses action over excuses. When Jesus finished telling this story, he looked into the eyes of the teacher of the law and asked, "Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?" The teacher, humbled, replied, "The one who showed him mercy." And Jesus gave the command that still speaks to us today: go and do likewise. This story is not just about a road 2,000 years ago. It is about us. The priest and the Levite remind us of the excuses we often make. I'm too busy, it's too risky, someone else will help. The Samaritan shows us what real love looks like. Compassion that moves beyond words, beyond prejudice, beyond convenience, into costly action. And isn't this the heart of the gospel? That while we were broken, helpless, and left for dead in our sin, Jesus himself came down our road. He didn't pass us by. He came close. He healed our wounds. He carried us when we could not walk. He paid the price, not just with silver coins, but with his very blood, so that we could live. The Good Samaritan is not just a story about what we should do. It's a picture of what Christ has already done for us. But now, as his followers, we are called to go and do the same. In our world, neighbors are not just the people who live next door. They are the stranger on the side of the road, the co-worker quietly battling depression, the single mother struggling to make ends meet, the refugee seeking safety, the homeless man overlooked by crowds, the friend who never admits how lonely they are. Being a Good Samaritan today might mean stopping to listen, offering a meal, giving your time, opening your wallet, or simply showing kindness when others look away. The question for us is not, who is my neighbor? The question is, will I be a neighbor? Will I be the one who stops? Will I be the one who loves when it's costly, inconvenient, or uncomfortable? So as you step into your day, remember the road to Jericho. Remember the man who was beaten. Remember the priest and the Levite who chose safety over compassion, and remember the Samaritan who chose mercy over excuses. Then hear the words of Jesus, fresh and urgent. Go and do likewise.